it with an H? Is it with an H or not?
What's that?
T-H-O-M or T-O-M?
Yeah, T-H-O-M.
Good evening. My name is Ray Zukowski, and this is the IMDHA Tacoma chapter and the South Sound NGH chapter meeting. We've combined our meetings so that we can share videos, and we're offering this as a Google Hangout on air. And so tonight, before we get started with our guest speaker, next month is going to be our annual picnic. And so I think we had it down in Olympia last year. So we have tentatively just laid out this for the picnic to be the same place we had it 2 years ago at Wapato Park. And that's kind of on the corner of 72nd Street and I-5 in Tacoma. And we tentatively picked Sunday, the 17th of August, and for it to go somewhere between 1 and 4 p.m. So if we get some feedback from Olympia and it's difficult to do that, then we'll change it. We're flexible on that. So if you have anything else that needs to go on here, anybody have anything that they need to announce tonight? Okay, good. All right, so our guest speaker tonight is Tom Ward. He's been in the healthcare field for 36 years. 15 years with hands-on care, 21 years for long-term care administrator and consulting. Tom utilizes his professional and academic experience in life coaching, providing both secular and Christian life coaching. He's also certified as a hypnotherapist. Let's all welcome Tom Ward.
Good evening. We're not going to the commercial now, are we?
Not yet.
Okay. Yeah, it's great to be here. I'm Tom Ward. I'm going to just go right into it, and I'm going to give you a little bit more than what Ray has given you into what my story is all about. Everybody has a story, and I won't go all the way to the end and when I was born and that sort of thing. We'll keep that out. But anyway, when I was a young adult, like a lot of people, I worked in a warehouse and worked in manual labor and that sort of thing, wondering what I was going to do. Injured my back in the warehouse and tried insurance. Wonderful, wonderful program. I did very well. I was top in the office until I ran out of relatives to sell insurance to. So I decided I should try something else. So I went into cosmetology and hairstyling. I did that for a number of years, enjoyed it. I enjoyed the artistic part of it, but I really enjoyed being connected with people. And I was starting to learn right at that point that I enjoyed making that connection, having a relationship with people. After a while, I got a little bit bored of doing that, and I thought, well, I want to use my brain cells a little bit, and I studied trichology. That's T-R-I-C-H-O-L-O-G-Y. And that's the study of hair and scalp disorders. I did that, discovered that I could have studied a little bit harder when I was in high school and advanced into something else that I wanted to do. I always wanted to be a doctor. I did really well in this course. Took the course. I was the only trichologist in Eastern Washington, served other health salons with their clients that had hair and scalp disorders and that sort of thing. I thought, well, maybe I should go into medicine. So I went into medicine, and I discovered that I could be a good student and make good grades. And after I went to Spokane Community College, Spokane Falls Community College, Eastern Washington University, I thought, I think I'll finish up at Seattle University. Went there and went broke because of their high tuition costs and the cost of living, and I'm sure it's still the same up there. After I was in that first quarter and rapidly lost all my money and just tried to survive, I decided I should go into something else. So I went into healthcare administration. I operated nursing homes for 21 years, consulted large and small corporations, national corporations that were involved in nursing homes, assisted livings, boarding homes, and that sort of thing. Enjoyed it immensely. But when I went into that, I thought I'd be having these relationships with these elderly folks and then conversing and forming these friendships and that sort of thing. That was the key thing that kept me in that profession for all those years, was that relationship, that bonding that you have when you meet other people. After 21 years in government intervention and with corporations that don't necessarily do what you suggest they do after they pay you a pretty good sum, I decided to get out of that and go back into nursing and worked in the emergency room at a hospital down in Olympia. I quickly learned that nurses no longer have that time to make that bonding happen when the patients come to their unit. So quickly I learned that that wasn't what I really wanted to do. There was a mental health specialist there that was a certified hypnotherapist. What is that? I asked, and he told me, and it brought back memories when I was first introduced to pre-nursing, and I was working on a burn unit in a hospital in Spokane. And during the mid-late 70s, they had either you were smoking, the stuff that's legal now, or you were meditating. I learned transcendental meditation. And that's when I learned the mind-body connection. It was amazing how it helped me through school. I had a full-time job, had a wife and 2 children, and I was going to school full-time. It was very difficult until I learned how to control my body and my different behavior patterns that kept me healthy and strong. It increased my memory. It did so much for me. But when I worked on the burn unit, I used some of those little methods in learning transcendental meditation with the burn patients to help reduce their pain level. And I used it in various different areas of the hospital that I worked. It was amazing. So when I was working at the hospital in Olympia and he introduced hypnotherapy, he explained that he was also a instructor. So I took his course, and I just had a ball for the next year and a half trying to figure out how it really works and if it really does work. But also I learned I could make that relationship happen again with my clients. I wasn't charging at that time, so I can't really call them clients, but they became friends. We had a relationship, and that was the key to what I really wanted in life. Through all those different experiences that I had in my life, bonding with other people, having a relationship with people was the most important thing to me. So that's what I'm going to talk about tonight. Before I took that course through that fellow, he was asking me what I was doing, and at that time I was taking courses through Light University in Christian counseling and life coaching. I learned the counseling part was fine, but I hated to give advice because most of the people that I talked with could answer their own questions. They could treat themselves for what ailed them. With a mind-body connection, you have more power to offer them to use to change their negative behavior. So I kind of gravitated toward life coaching during that time, and I explained to him what I was doing, and he thought, oh, this is a great fit. So I never thought much about it, but I played with hypnosis and hypnotherapy for a year and a half, and most of my clients or people that I met had pain issues or cancer. Great success. It brought me back to those times when I was working on the burn unit and at the hospital using meditation. Wonderful thing being able to bond with people, isn't it? It's great. Everybody has a story. when you have a client that comes into your office, you take the time to listen to their story. It's important to hear their story. Everybody has a different story. When you take in that story, you become a part of them. You have a formed relationship, getting a picture of your mind as to where they are at that given time. And many people that I've talked to over the years, for instance, I have a hypnotherapy friend that has clients that come in and she sees them on a temporary basis, but she asked me if I would consider being in a project with her, working with a particular agency. And they would sign a contract, and evidently they had some similar issues, and she said we could just put them through her every 15 minutes. And I thought, well, that would be great, but how effective is that? How do you touch the lives of those people? How do you validate what is happening? How do you follow up on those types of things? Those are the questions in my mind. I never had any other discussions about it, but because I knew that I wouldn't have that connection with people. It is my belief that everybody has an emotional structure. It's part of their DNA. They whatever goes into your mind affects your body. And if you would have listened to Kevin last month on the mind-body connection and how it affected the neural pathways of the body, you'd know how powerful your mind actually is, how it affects you. It affects every part of your body. There's a chemical loop in your body that your mind and body can heal, can do all sorts of things. So anyway, also yesterday or the day before, I heard on GMA that your eating patterns can be imprinted on your DNA and passed on through the generations, future generations. They're learning more and more in science of how your mind and your body operates. Actually, I'm not sure if they're actually learning how yet. They're just learning that it's happening. So we've got a long ways to go in our science, but it's moving very rapidly. And we could see a lot of this stuff come up after the Genome Project, and with all the many different discoveries that they've made in that project. And you may have noticed or noted that as you were listening to my background, you placed me into your frame of reference. That reference frame may have changed from the time that you walked in the door or when you talk to somebody on the phone, one of your clients. You put them in a frame from what they tell you. So it's important to listen to their story to understand where they are coming from. There limited time and limited information. I've spoken to dozens of different hypnotherapists. The ones that enjoy their job the most, it all depends on their motivation. Money, if money is your motivation, then you can bring people in and send them back out again, not knowing what kind of effect, how you changed their lives, how they've changed their lives on their own. So the more time you spend with the client, the more you learn, the more of a relationship you form, and that's worth more than money to me. So if your money is in, I mean, if your treasure is in money, then move rapidly, move quickly, and if it's in relationship, the treasure you gain is the relationship that you form and using that time. In a lot of hypnotherapy practices, a lot of the people, a lot of the practitioners that I've seen will start gathering information over a phone, which many times that's the first point of reference or contact, but getting that person into your office is the first thing. So you have to listen carefully. Listening is one of the most useful tools in your practice. Once you get him into your office, you take an interview, you gather, you may have a form or may not have a form to gather this information, and that may be long or short depending on how you practice. And you begin the hypnosis process. A lot of the times in the framework that you use, you gather the information and you use a type of format that helps benefit that person in behavioral change. The post-hypnotic portion, they come out of hypnosis. Some practitioners will ask them how they felt and pat them on the back and say, good luck, and they may or may not ever see them again. Is this a good practice? Does anybody have any comments on how you handle that situation? How is your practice different than anybody else? Does anybody have any comments?
We're better.
You're raised better.
No. No, it's. I think I still see a lot of people that are not client-centered in their practice. We're very strong on having it client-centered.
And there are stage hypnotists that enjoy what they're doing and are satisfied with large groups of people wanting to quit smoking. They charge a fair amount of money and they make good money and they're gone. And then many people don't get hypnotized. Many people quit smoking for a while but return. For me, myself, I'm a client-centered practitioner, and that's what I like to see more of in our practice. People helping people. What do you lose in a brief encounter?
You lose that connection with the client, and you may not be meeting their needs because you haven't really made that connection with them. So you're losing that opportunity.
Losing the connection and losing the opportunity to help them.
And you don't build a relationship. And ours is a very strong, hypnotherapy is a very strong referral business. So if you're not building that relationship, then you're not getting those people to give you referrals. Exactly.
That's a good point. Referrals are the lifeblood of your company, your practice. And Ray mentioned once before, I remember that he said that even somebody that would come in and go under hypnosis for a particular behavioral issue isn't quite successful as what they expected, still will send referrals to you. And that's from the relationship that they formed in their practice. So that's good. Does hypnotherapy always complete in changing the behavior? Is it always complete, or is it just a beginning?
Just the beginning.
Many times you unsurface something so that something else can find its way up to the surface.
Excellent. And that's the one thing that I noticed when I first opened up my practice, is that whenever somebody would go, and it was usually for I don't know why, what reason, but the female population from the age of 50 to 75 that I've had, when they've come in for weight management or weight loss, they go back into their childhood or early adulthood finding issues that have anchored them to those foods and their eating patterns. And usually with those type of clients that I've found, it isn't a one-time session, it isn't a 2 or 3 time session. It goes on, but there was a time to where I had to say, okay, let's stop the hypnosis and just gather the information and the emotions that you brought out and let's just go down the line one by one and address those cognitively. And it's been wonderful to work with those people, and what a bond that we've created. And how many people ask those types of questions after they come out of hypnosis, what they've experienced? What type of questions have you used when they come out of hypnosis?
I like to ask people if they were surprised by anything that they discovered and how they feel about the process that just took place.
Okay. Right?
A lot of times people are really surprised.
Very often they're surprised that they went someplace they weren't expecting. I don't ask them so many questions as I assure them that they may just be processing on the things that we've worked on. If we've moved to the core cause or done some really strong work with them, I usually give them time to process, and I tell them it may be 2 hours, it might be 2 weeks, and if you have more questions, just call me, let me know, and we'll talk about it.
And when you offer talking about it, how do you follow through with that the next visit?
Oh, well, they just let's go through and see what happened, what else has come up since then. There's lots of times other things that come up since then.
So do you take notes during the interview process and the post?
We take notes as part of the intake, and then we take notes on the session, and we will take more notes. We just have a running file on the client that just keeps adding to it.
So then you bring some of those issues up
Yeah.
the following sessions. Johnny? Anything?
We do the same thing.
You do the same thing. Very good. Okay.
Okay, you tell me why.
So has anybody ever noticed that they put people in boxes before they meet them?
We try not to do that.
Yeah.
People will come in, and when they tell you their story and they're going through all the things that they're going through, sometimes you could sit there and go, okay, I got this person pegged, but you always have to go, hang on. You can't let what they're really telling you sway, their story really sway, because your job is to unfold where is the real cause. And many times I've said, well, this is a good possibility, but when I get there, that's not where it is at all.
Very good. Yeah. Yeah, that was the one thing that was another thing that I've noticed when I opened up my practice. The very exciting time when you first open up your practice, because your learning curve just shoots up. I mean, it's amazing what you learn about people when you give them a chance to explain their story. So,
Yeah, I'll just give you an example. There was a lady that I worked with a few weeks ago. She was like, I have this issue and I know where it came from. It was started about 4 years ago. I'm like, okay. So I gather all the information that I can, but when I go into hypnosis, I follow the thread to where it leads me. And it goes all the way back to 3 years old. And it has nothing to do with the issue that she thought it was. It was related, but it was not anywhere near what she thought it was.
and when you address some of those issues, do you do it cognitively or do you do it under hypnosis again? Right?
We do it under hypnosis.
Do you do any of it by asking questions and?
Well, we always ask
Guiding.
questions beforehand.
Okay.
We ask lots of questions.
Okay.
My first session usually runs an hour and a half. Okay.
Yeah.
And about 25 minutes of my first session is hypnosis. The rest is asking questions.
Okay. Good. And you've mentioned one of your experiences, and the one that stands out in my mind is a elderly or mid. I think she was 62 when she came in. She was just retired from the state, and she wanted to lose weight. And she went under hypnosis. She felt good when she came out. She felt emotionally successful in what was going on, but she discovered other issues while under hypnosis. And she discovered that she was verbally abused both by her parents and the kids at school all through high school. And I said, well, have you ever tried to lose weight during those times? She goes, yes, and I lost quite a bit of weight, but when I looked in the mirror, it just didn't feel like me. So she would start eating again. So you have to know their complete story. You have to dig in and, like you say, Ray, move forward on that. They like to have discussions when they come out of hypnosis and they make these discoveries. I ask questions about how they felt about those different issues, and it's my belief that when people make these discoveries, they don't need a professional psychiatrist, psychologist. People are smart enough, once they have that understanding and know why their behaviors and how they got started, can counsel themselves with just a little bit of guidance. So I ask them, or they'll tell me sometimes, I'll get to a certain point and I don't know what the norm is. I've lost weight, I'm socially in a situation, and I don't feel like what I thought I would feel being thinner. So they feel a little bit disconnected somehow. So those are things you need to talk about. And you don't need to be a counselor as a hypnotherapist. People can do this on their own with just a little bit of direction. And you can do that either in hypnosis or out. I think I've covered that. Differences between hypnotherapy and life coaching is that a life coach is a person that walks alongside that person with their issues and their goals and that sort of thing. Many people come out of hypnosis knowing a direction to go, but don't have the tools to get there. So, for instance, somebody might want to do better in organizing their day at work. They may not know how to make a list and to make out a list. When I was an administrator and working for a large corporation, my mentor, my boss, came in and saw my desk and saw that it was disheveled, and he says, "Well, you know, it looks very organized." Of course, this fellow was pretty intimidating, but he was kind of a big teddy bear anyway. He was a great teacher. But he said, you have to get everything organized on your desk first. Put things in categories, put them in folders, set them, 5 or 6 categories on your desk and work them one by one. So I did that, but I was still not connected to what my day is the following day. He says, well, you have to prepare for it. Another mentor told me, make up your list the night before. Be prepared. The stress level will go down immensely. You'll decompress before the day even starts. So you have an idea in your mind's eye as how the day is going to go by preparing the night before. Great tools to use. And when you have a person that comes in that's looking to advance and doesn't know how to do it, doesn't know they'll have those tools to make himself calm, to make himself confident, using those tools can have them progress much quicker in reaching their goals. So you walk alongside the person as a coach. You're not like it's not like a parent-child relationship. It's more like being a football coach. A football coach doesn't go out and make the blocks and tackles and passes or receive the ball and make the touchdown. The coach is the one that helps them plan and encourage to win the game. So you're not a participant in the game other than you're standing alongside them and helping them through all that. And a self-appointed change in a person is more than mechanical. It's very emotionally driven. Their questions will lead them to a process to follow and to reach certain conclusions. The results found in taking this path is more of self-gratification, self-reliance, and realizing self-attained goals. Trust is everything in being a life coach. The client always expects honesty, and honesty comes with respect, and with honesty and respect comes trust. So there's no licensure requirements now for life coaches. However, there's all sorts of credentialing associations, and now the universities and colleges are picking up courses to teach life coaching, and business coaching, nutritional coaching, wellness coaching. There's a whole list of them. And if you go on to a lot of people want that
Authenticity.
Authenticity. I've been practicing that for a long time, that word. But they need that certificate just to validate that they've had some sort of training for their clients. So credentialing is can be important if you're starting up a practice. There's all sorts of internet connections with different universities. You can go online, and there's hundreds of them out there, from university to colleges to there was a guy that wrote several books. He's got a new coaching program out there too.
I took one online.
Oh, did you? Oh, very good. Yeah.
It was through a place called Udemy.
Udemy.
Yeah. They have like 5 million students, so
Wow.
they're a pretty big place.
Okay, good. Yeah, you want to do your research if you're going to write a check.
And I got a nice certificate.
Yeah.
Haven't done anything with it yet.
So you might consider being certified if you're a life coach. It adds to your credentialing and validates your process that you use in your practice. Lisa Halpin, she gave a little introduction to hypno coaching last week on Sunday's MGH teleseminar, and that was pretty interesting. I listened to it and discovered that I'm a hypno coach. Didn't realize that, but now I can put that on my sign, I suppose.
Okay.
But when I listened to her program, I discovered, there's a lot of hypnotherapists out there that are practicing coaching. It's kind of a natural thing to do. Being certified and learning the tools that a coach can use can be very beneficial. So there are forums and ways to direct people and to test people and to validate their goals is very important. So it's good to get that training. There's too many on the website or on the internet to really list. So in coaching, the coaching process, you have an opening. You gather information. You ask open-ended questions, which you do probably in your practice anyway, and then you make an assessment. And with that assessment, you might use tools for testing to validate some of the things that you've discovered. Then you begin the process of keeping the client accountable in their journey. Yesterday, I sat in with Ray and Joni with some of his students, and he was mentoring them. There's nothing too much different than mentoring and coaching. So it works. I was pretty impressed. So you assign them homework and you help them set goals and meet their goals. Unlike counseling, however, and hypnotherapy, you can share briefly some of your life experiences to help them validate some of their emotional feelings. And counseling, that's kind of foreboding. Questions, how many clients do you turn away that may need the help and assistance keep them moving forward? It's something you might want to think about. Be it a coach, you can find some people get dependent on a hypnotherapist or a counselor or whatever. In coaching, you give them a direction you give them guidelines and goals to meet, where that rarely happens. So, how much revenue is walking out the door? You do a few hypnotherapy sessions, they feel that they've reached satisfaction in what they came for. Is there something else that you had discussed or that was introduced to you that you could help them even be more successful in another area? You can do coaching in your office. The nice thing that I do is I have the person, I give them a choice. Either they can contact me over the phone and we can do short sessions once a week, and I give them assignments and set goals and help them set goals and that sort of thing. Or you can do it even on email. Emails work. Skype works, is kind of fun, and over the phone. So you can, it's another stream of revenue that you can use in your practice. And anybody have any questions, comments?
Do you do a lot of Skype that way?
I've done 2 or 3 of them actually.
I like dealing face to face because it just adds a whole different dimension than over the phone. I don't like using the phone as much. It doesn't. I'm a visual person, so for me, I want to see where they're at and have them understand the reactions.
Yeah, over the phone does limit you a little bit, and the email even limits you more.
And you can swap between Google and Skype. There's several others that you can use.
Oh, yeah, right. Okay. Yeah, seeing their facial expressions, you can miss a lot of, see. Yes?
Would you mind putting up your email or phone number for others if they have questions for you later?
Oh, sure.
Maybe write it on the board or something.
All right. Do
Right
that.
behind you there's a blue marker there.
And I have a blog on my website too. So my website is www. Kind of long.
Say that out loud so they can find out you can read it.
www.healingtherapy. Whoops, Olympia. I forgot the Olympia. It's even longer.
Oh,
.com. And email is ewhypnosis @Comcast. And I'd love to talk to anybody about coaching.
So do you do free consultations for people that want to come in?
I do a 30-minute consultation, and those are always a learning experience just on their own.
So when you do coaching, are you having them sign a contract for a time period? So many visits over a period of time?
I don't sign a contract. At the beginning, we set a number of visits or a number of sessions, and as we go along, I set certain goals or benchmarks that they need to meet to make sure that they're getting what they're looking for. Yes.
What are some of the different subjects that you have addressed in coaching?
Most of them have been with the female persuasion, the older ladies that have weight management issues. So many of them have been either sexually assaulted or verbally abused or had some other issues that, or have had cancer or some health issues that affected their way of behaving when it comes to eating and that sort of thing. And I work closely with a doctor as well when it comes to the health portion. I have them screened before I go too far.
So in your opinion, what different subjects could be addressed with coaching?
Almost anything can be addressed with coaching. It depends on what the health coach, I mean, what the coach is comfortable with. A business coach probably doesn't want to get into the private lives of somebody's marriage. A wellness coach probably wants to just focus on the health and wellness of the person. Since I've had some counseling training and I'm in the Christian realm in coaching and counseling, I go into the spiritual aspects of their lives as well. So, but it's a reinforcement of where they are and where they're going. Then I work with addictions as well. So.
Hello. We have some people from Olympia that have questions.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Go ahead.
Questions.
Ask your questions.
Sounds like that. I can't hear.
Can you
Okay,
repeat
you'll-
the question?
Can you repeat the question? Don't know if we lost them.
No, they're
Who
still.
is the interfaced with?
You're breaking up. I can't understand what you're saying.
Who was
Oh, there we go.
the instructor that taught the hypnotherapy in Olympia?
Now I'm trying to
Can
think
you
what.
repeat the question?
Well, who was the instructor that taught hypnotherapy to me? It was Anderson, Krista Anderson, and I'm trying to think of who the other instructor was. It was a very good course. Did you get that?
Yes, we did.
Okay.
Just so we hear it lay on this.
Okay.
That causes the
Okay. You have a question?
Yeah, I have a question. So when you're going through your coaching process, do you integrate back in hypnotherapy occasionally, or are you sort of done with that after your first hypnotherapy? How do you integrate the hypnotherapy with the coaching?
When we discover something else that may have implications of a subconscious issue, then we go into the. And a lot of the clients will tell me, well, I think I need to be hypnotized for this particular issue because I'm not sure what's going on, or I'm afraid to address it.
So do you primarily use it then for resolving issues, or do you use like suggestions and imagery and forward imagining? Do you use some of the more outside influence type things in hypnotherapy, or mostly just for discovering issues?
Well, for the life coaching portion is dealing with issues present and planning to address them in the future. So I give them cognitively the tools to reach certain goals. And intermittently, we may need hypnosis to really get to the root of the problem or to anchor things.
Usually they're moving from point A to point B.
Correct.
And it's not like we can do hypnosis here and get you to point B.
Right.
You need that. It's kind of like hand holding and giving them the tools to keep moving towards that longer term goal.
Right, right. It's using more of their cognitive thought to address things. So, because they may have to share some of their feelings and thought when they get home, or their interactions with other people. And so we just give them tools to do that.
It's my experience as a hypnotherapist that a lot of people will get to the core cause of their issue, but they don't have the tools of now that I know this, how do I do that in my life? And I can see how coaching would help them to take those steps to move forward, changing maybe bad habits.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's, in issues like gambling is kind of a little bit different of a addiction than smoking or even drinking. It's more of a social type thing, and you have to give them tools to break out of that. So.
Well, I tend to work with people kind of mentoring, because I started my business originally, Body Mind Mentoring, and it was about mentoring people, and people might come in and go, I really want to start my business and get it going, but I really don't have a good idea where to go. And so it's kind of like, okay, let's outline all of the steps of getting the business going and setting your goals and where do you want to go, and we'll sit for so many sessions to figure out how to get you to be in the place that you want to be.
Exactly. So you've been doing life coaching all this time.
Yeah.
So.
Hello?
Yes.
This is Cindy.
Hi, Sandy.
And Olympia.
Yeah.
Hi, yes. And our question was a call that there was a man that he had worked with at the hospital ER that was also an instructor. So we're all going, who is he?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of who he was. In fact, I just deleted his name. He moved away, and I deleted his name from my address. Oh,
Yeah, we
they were
did
wondering
that.
who the gentleman was that suggested his course in hypnotherapy. And when I find that out, I can pass it along.
Okay, great, thank you.
You bet.
From a business model, your fees, how do you compare the life to therapy?
Okay, you kind of broke up again. Could you repeat it once more?
I think I heard him ask
How
the
do you
difference between the
compare
business
the
model
fee
and coaching.
structure with hypnotherapy versus life coaching?
I charge a little more for hypnotherapy because it can take a long time in a session, and it's kind of fluid. But with life coaching, I can set a time, half an hour or an hour, and keep it within that framework. In hypnotherapy, I don't watch a clock, so I charge a little bit differently. I'm the person that likes to talk with people. I like to have a conversation, so I don't charge as much for my coaching because it's kind of an end product of the hypnotherapy. So that's just the way I do it. You can structure it any way. You can charge the same for life coaching as you do for hypnotherapy. I just don't happen to do that. So yes.
So then do you find
Do
that
you
you can
do
still,
that based on a package or month?
Before we start into the life coaching,
can you
we
repeat the
said,
question?
oh, he was asking, do I have it in a package form? I don't have it in a package form. Each individual is different, and their financial situation is different. So we set up a time frame with a financial structure at the beginning.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
so do you find that you're able then to see more clients during the course of a day because it's less, as you say, time consuming and fluid than hypnosis, and potentially maybe less draining for you? Or
It's for me, it's an emotional thing. It's just an emotional charge for me to have a conversation and form a relationship that way. So I don't charge that much for that because I'm getting other type of treasures than money. So
how many clients do
Did
you
you go?
normally see in a day?
pardon me?
How many clients do you feel like you can see in a day then? when you're doing
I
your coaching?
could potentially.
Yeah.
With life coaching, I could have clients come in every 30 minutes, but the time that it takes for life coaching is that you have to plan before the next visit. So you have to. It's like being a teacher. You have to have a lesson plan to set up. So I've been accumulating tools and forms and that sort of thing for grief counseling or grief work. I have forms that I've found in a book that I use for the grief counseling.
So after the initial consultation, if you're not doing hypnosis, but you're doing the coaching, your initial session probably is lengthy then in gathering that
It is.
information.
It is.
Taking that into consideration.
So. Okay. Yes,
What insurances do you take, or is it cash only?
it's cash only. I don't. Most insurance companies don't pay for coaching. Most insurance companies don't pay for hypnosis either. Insurance companies may pay for hypnosis for quit smoking or diet. I don't know how many there are. There's probably just one or two. If you're a licensed psychologist or MD, and you use hypnosis, then you can bill for it. But
So what's their reasoning for not allowing that?
it probably has to do with the insurance company and the educational process and their relationship within the medical realm. But insurance companies are terrible to deal with anyway.
Most insurance companies want you to have a PhD in psychology before they'll accept, you sending the insurance payments. Okay, they just don't want to go, oh, well, you took this much training in just hypnosis. Most of them won't do that.
And they need a diagnostic code in order to bill.
We have those, but
So-
that doesn't mean that.
But that doesn't. But in order to use, or you can't diagnose unless you have the credentials to diagnose. So that's the kicker.
One thing though, is that if you have a flexible spending account
Yes.
through your employer, a lot of times with flexible spending accounts, you can spend that money on hypnotherapy, but usually also for a limited range of reasons.
Yeah, but there's really no limit for that. It has to do with your health or.
It has to be smoking cessation, weight loss. Some of them will pay for stress management. You just have to look at the guidelines.
Yeah, what you need is you get a doctor's prescription or a referral from a doctor, and they can take it off out of that account. Yeah, that's just an IRS thing. It's not really an insurance.
People can take weight reduction costs off on their taxes.
Yes.
A lot of people don't even think of that. But,
Yeah.
when you go, oh, it costs that much? Well, you can write it off on your taxes.
Mhm.
And it's not
So,
much, but
yeah.
they're happy
Yeah.
to go, oh, okay.
People with
Everything
phobias
helps.
and that sort of thing, or gambling issues, or if you get that referral from
bet
the
it makes you
doctor, then you can they can take it off their income tax.
Gamblers are easy. I bet I can make you stop.
Yeah. I'll bet you $50. So, okay. Any other questions?
Very cool.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Oh, you bet. Thank you, Ray.
Thank you.
Can I get you?
For those that want to have some backup information, I did send out the link tonight to this, and if you receive emails from me, you'll have a link to the PowerPoint so that you can print the PowerPoint and see what was here, because it's not always clear on the screen. And we thank Tom very much for being here and sharing all that information with us. Next month is our picnic, so email me, let me know what you need. And the link to this talk, I'll be emailing out to everybody tomorrow. So you'll have this, you can go watch it on YouTube anytime you want.
Was this
Thank you, Ray.
a meeting for hypnotherapists?
Anybody.
Anybody, we opened it up for anybody. Okay, we'll see you in September. We don't see you at the picnic.
All right. Thank you, Ray.
Thanks for the invite. I'm not hypnotherapist.
That's okay.